Sonic Heroes stages. I just think it's so classic that, like, once you go into Sonic the Hedgehog, it has, like, more horny jail stuff than any other section on the entire website. It's just, like, too much. Let's see what's in Zelda and see what shows up here. So we've got Legend of Zelda games, all Zelda games, Zelda games with dates. Ugh. Breath of the Wild characters could be cool, except there'll be ones in there where it's probably like random NPC and I'm like, I don't remember you. Hyrule Warriors characters, Links could be interesting. Breath of the Wild enemies. Legend of Zelda husbando tiers. Do we dare? Do we actually dare to do this one? I think we have to. So wait a second. We need let's just have a look here at what's there. Like, I think we have to like the we have to just like change the tier names. We have to have the, so SS is offensive. Like, I'm not having something called SS on here. So the top tier we just call Pippet. And then we have to have like a tier down here, which is stay in school, because some of these characters aren't even legally allowed to become a husband, so that's where we dump all of them. Might as well just get them out of the way first. Like, all of these, like, 10-year-old Links, like, stay in school. Deku Link. Where are they? I saw, like, a Kamali is here as well. Mido. Well, no, Mido was, like, 500 years old, probably, or 1,000 years old, but still. The same thing applies. Like, Wind Waker Link. What else do we have here? We'll find them. I can't, like, look through them all. So, Pippet. Is that even, like, spelling his name right? Is he even on this list? If he's not, then I'm gonna kill someone. He needs to be there. Majora's Mask Link. There you go. Yeah, he is. There we go. So this is the yardstick by which we measure all other characters. So where do we go from here? Cafe, stay in school. Linebeck, let's start with Linebeck. So Linebeck, I think, like, not a very trustworthy person, he seems, right? But actually, in spite of himself, like, even though he's, like, using you for the majority of the game, he's actually kind of, like, swarthy and handsome and actually becomes a good person. So we put Linebeck in the A tier, right? This guy is just that, like, washed up, drunk off his ass, like Risho guy who is just so forgettable, it's insulting. So he goes in, like, the... I don't think it should even be, like, the C tier. I think this is, like, the kick to the curb tier. This is the Pippet tier. This is the... What do we call the tier below Pippet? Look, we have SAB. Can we think of anything else? Let's call this one maybe if I'm drunk. Let's call this one put a ring on it. Not Q, French keyboard. Ring on it. And then we call this one. We'll just call this one the good looking. There we go. So, now we can get started. So, Alfonso, are these not, these are like similar guys. They're just in like different timelines. I'm gonna put them in the maybe if I'm drunk stage. Like, the thing is, it's like, I don't know. It's not like pure just like how hot they are or not, I guess. You're kicked to the curb, very like, obviously. Let's just like let's like organize these guys a little bit here. Like, David Jr., Ankle, Knuckle, and Tingle. Maybe like do two different Tingles here. Where's the sexy Tingle from Twilight Princess? The one that does the star game. They're not there. They're like the only Tingle that would even... They'd like they'd get into the good looking tier. So... like, I think all of these like go into the... Like the maybe if I'm drunk section. And then, like, this one goes into the kicked to the curb section because he just looks off-putting. Let me see here. The Gorons... Just no, I'm not into the whole Goron aesthetic. Yeah, there's the one from Twilight Princess. Like, that is not technically Tingle, but is Tingle. Let's look at this here. What else do we have? Tail? What is, like, Tail doing in here? Like, Tail is, like... We don't even see Tail for most of the game. Like, how are we supposed to, like, even... Also, it's a fairy. I think we just put Tail in stay in school territory. Let me see. What else have we got? Girahim, I don't like. Like, there is nothing... Like, when we talked about Blaine and, like, Drayden, or whatever his name is, having, like, that kind of intimidating sexiness, Girahim doesn't have that. Girahim is just, like, rapey creepiness, and I don't appreciate it. So, Girahim goes there. Maekar is, again, just like, I'm gonna put you in stay in school territory because you're like, you come up to my ankle and you're like a little wooden ball. So, so, yeah. Let's look at here. Onyx. Like, I don't even know what Onyx looks like. It's like, nobody cared who I was until I put on the mask. Like, I don't know, for all I know, maybe if I'm drunk I would marry Onyx, you know, if we're in Vegas or something. Like, if we're in Vegas, I'm, like, completely... just out of my head. I'm partying with the... Like, this is the situation I'm thinking of right now, right? I'm in Vegas. I meet in the casino bar. I meet the 4 Tingle guys on... And they're, like, on vacation. They're hitting the slots. They're spending all their cash. You know, they're high rollers. We get partying, you know. And then I wake up the next morning... And I'm after marrying all of them. Like, I can totally see that happening, given that sort of situation. And I think something similar might happen with Onyx. It stands to reason. So, because maybe I would party with Onyx, you know. If I met Onyx in the club, he's there being 13 feet tall, like stomping, dancing, or whatever, you know. Maybe it'd happen. Who knows? So, where are we now? Let's just start, like, Zoralink, sorry, but, like, put a ring on it. Zant is, it's, like, all grown up. Zant is, like, kicked to the curb. This guy is also kicked to the curb because he's, like, also a crybaby, and I don't appreciate it. Yuga, I don't appreciate the aesthetic, not sexy at all. Yesho... So, Yesho is like... I really have like a soft spot for Yesho's personality, because like he's such a loving, caring person. He's so friendly and welcoming to Link. Like I think like if we're talking about whether you'd marry Yesho, not necessarily in like a we're not necessarily talking about like a superficial sort of whether Yesho is good looking or not, because let's face it, he's an abominable snowman, but he's also an extremely loyal, caring, loving, welcoming, friendly person who, even though Link is a stranger in a strange land, takes us in, lets us, says like, make yourself at home. Do you want some soup? Oh, a pumpkin, thanks. I'll put it into the soup. Like I think you would marry him. I think he's like husband material. He's like, your mom would be like, that Yesho is a good boy. You marry him, you'll be set up for life. You'll have a loving home, you know? That's why I think you'd have to, like, marry Yesho. Let's see here. Okay, let's get to, like, let's get to the embarrassing childhood crushes territory. So the embarrassing childhood crushes are, like, Fado and Ralph, from when I was like, what, 12 years old. Like, Fado was my obsession when I was like 12, 13, 14 or whatever. So, and Ralph as well. Like, Ralph is like the Edward of Zelda Oracle of Ages, so he has to be up there. Where are we going from now? Russell, again, I think he's like a similar to, it's like, I don't think he's like belongs in the good looking category, because Russell looks like if you had like a Patrick Swayze action figure and left it in the sun for too long. However, he's like a good husband, so I think he's like marriage material, you know, but I don't think I would be the person who would marry him, so I think he goes into the... I think Russell is that guy who in the club, when I'm drunk, he looks 10 years younger than he is, and then I wake up the next morning and I'm like, oh my god, you could be my dad, and I'm horrified. So I think maybe he belongs in the maybe if I'm drunk category. I need to put all of this in like the context of what if I'm in the club, you know, when I see them. So now, who are you? Are you the guy from the Yiga clan? Is that him? Volga? I didn't think that... No, that's a different guy. He's not the guy from the Yiga clan. I don't even see that guy here. Vati is kind of like intimidating sexy energy, and that he's like an evil wizard who also has this kind of like Hanyan air pressure sort of thing, where again you're intimidated by him. So he belongs in the good-looking category. Twilight Princess Link is put a ring on it, let's just face it. Dark Link, similarly, is like is like Twilight Princess Link, but intimidating, which is also a plus, as we have discussed already. Nico was like, like, I think you're stay in school category or kicked to the curb. I think you're just short, so you go kicked to the curb. The postman is also no. If I was very drunk, maybe, but I would have to be extremely drunk, which I have been sometimes. But not today. Goron Link again, sorry, no. When we get to the Ganondorfs, that's when things are going to get interesting here. That's when things are going to get very, very divisive, maybe? So, where are we now? We've got Beedle. Maybe if I'm drunk. I don't like the haircut, you know. It's like, again, it's a bad sign when someone spends the entire game with their top off and you still don't like them. The butler, you're a tree. You, I don't know who you are, but you're not my type. Bye. Fierce deity, up here. Fledge, you look like Pinocchio, and also you're like just an irritating personality type. So I think you belong in the like maybe if I'm drunk category where it could happen, but not necessarily. Demise, you're like an evil being from another dimension, so I don't think I would like that. Groose is like an interesting one, right? Because like he's like he has like a cool personality. He has a cool soundtrack, you know, he comes home at night and you hear when he comes into the room or whatever, and it's like, oh, that's pleasant. Birds like him. I'm trying to think of like what the plus points are of Groose. Birds like him. He seems able to make friends, even though his friends are kind of dweebs, you know. He's kind of a bully, but he's not a nasty bully. All he does is lock up your bird. It's like big whoop, you know. He can be a vulnerable guy. Like, he learns how to be vulnerable. I think if my dream had been realized, right? So Skyward Sword is a failure for a lot of reasons, but I think it really missed a trick on why isn't Groose like the origin story of the... Why don't they make like Groose the origin story of the Gerudo, and why isn't Groose like the origin story of Ganondorf? Because it would make so much sense. I mean, look at him. He's like a human being who could be Ganondorf. And also, by that time in the game, you're after growing to love Groose and he's not an asshole anymore, which would make it all the more poignant if he was in danger of becoming an evil thing against his will, but it never happened. So he doesn't even get the coolness points. So I think we put the Groose in the good-looking section. I think that's where he deserves to be. Then there's like these like... I don't like him. He's kicked to the curb. Then there's like the Zoras that are in the band. I think he gets kicked to the curb as well, the drummer. These guys, like Mikau and the other guy, they're good looking. Like, they go up... Like, to be honest, you can't have Zora Link up here and then not have Mikau up there because they're the same... Well, practically the same, so... Cass... I like Cass a lot. You know... I think we have to change good looking, because that's not what we're talking about. We need to change good looking to, like, something else. I think we'll change this to... to dateable. I think that's like a better that's like a better term there, is like dateable. There's a noise outside. Sorry, there was like a weird noise outside. So it sounded like someone was like opening the door, and I was like, why is someone opening my front door? Like, it was very strange, but dateable, I think that's like far better, right? So, because I think that describes Groose better, because I don't think, and I would necessarily like automatically marry him, but I think he's definitely worth dating, and we see where it goes, you know? And I think that's where Cass belongs as well. So, this is like stay in school. Link Breath of the Wild is like, put a ring on it. He's almost like in Pippet level. I think we put Breath of the Wild Link up there. I don't like this look very much, the Hyrule Warriors one. I think he's dateable Link. Then there's all of these kids. You should be in school. What are you doing in the nightclub? So then we have the Skyward Sword Link, who's also... I think he's like belongs up here with Twilight Princess Link. I think they're very similar design-wise. Ocarina of Time Link is dateable. This guy is like... He's also in the club, but he's the kind of guy in the club that you're afraid of like putting something into your drink and... like, if you know what I mean... He's the like guy who you're like, I stay away from him because he might roofie me. So we don't go near the Poe Collector. Quill, I think, is dateable. Because I think Quill is like, he's a good person. Like, a little bit like Yeto. You know, like, what everything we see of Quill is that he's like a very moralistic, good person who's like, who convinces the pirates that they need to help us, and all he does is good things throughout the whole game. So Quill is dateable, similar to Cass here. Ravio is a good guy. Like, Ravio goes into the dateable section just because he's a good person. And I think the dark hair is a good look for a Link, so... Renado, I don't like you. Like, why do you play with Telma's heart? Why do you do that? Rivali... I think Rivali's personality can be a bit much. Like, I know he's trying to be that kind of abrasive character, but I think it's just a little bit too much sometimes. So I think Rivali ends up in, like, the maybe if I'm drunk section. Salvatore, he's the Kaboom guy. Kaboom! I think he belongs here. Again, if he's in the club and the night is right and we've got nowhere else to go, then maybe that'd happen. Shad is like kicked to the curb, dweeb. Sidon is like in put a ring on it territory. He's just like the ultimate good catch, you know? Like, similar to Yeto, but younger and hotter. Well, not younger, because isn't he, like, 1,000 years old or something like that? But maybe by Zora standards, he's younger. Skull Kid is both a monster and a kid. And this, I don't even know who you are. But you're a scary old man. Hitting on me, what? You need a CAT scan, DIONOSA, you are an old man. So now we have the Ganondorfs. What are we going to do with this? Well, you are a big pig, so you... monster. So you get kicked to the curb. Hyrule Warriors Ganondorf, is not my cup of tea. Then there's like Ocarina of Time Ganondorf, Twilight Princess Ganondorf, and Wind Waker Ganondorf. Like, I think, like, Twilight Princess Ganondorf and Wind Waker Ganondorf definitely have that thing going on where they're, like, their intimidation factor makes them kind of sexy to a certain extent, or at least wins them sexy points just a little bit. So I think that puts them in the dateable category. And then Ocarina of Time Ganondorf lands in the maybe if I'm drunk section. So there it is. We have done it. We have ranked the Zelda boys.